Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Riverside Planning Commission meeting to order for Monday, September. You don't have the date on here. 18th, 2023. You're messing me up already. At 6:31. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Denning,
Here.
Mr. Hairston, Mr. Owens, Mr. Rogers,
Here.
Mr. Vasquez.
Here.
All right. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to excuse Mr. Hairston and Mr. Owens.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to excuse Mr. Harrison and Mr. Owens. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, approval of agenda. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda, either as published or as amended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as published. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, you have minutes in your packet. If there is no additions or deletions to the minutes, the chair would entertain a motion to approve as published.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as published. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
It's like a long time ago, in July.
I know.
Mhm.
Okay. So moving on, we have one public hearing. So I will open the public hearing at 6:33. This is for PC case number 230018. It's a waiver for 4918 Airway Road, partial ID number I390011400045. A waiver to allow deviation from the permitted building colors under the architectural design standards. And I will start by asking Ms. Holt to swear herself in and proceed with staff report.
I, Naya Holt, affirm that the testimony I'm about to give before the Planning Commission is true to the best of my knowledge. Right. As Madam Chair stated, this is a waiver at 4918 Airway Road. What is outlined in blue is the aerial of the property. The applicant is located within the Airway Shopping Center on 0.77 acres, and they are outside the source water protection area. They are proposing to reuse this existing structure on the site and open up a medical marijuana dispensary, Our code requires that new commercial structures have earth tone colors on the body, the base, and the cap of the building. However, this does not align with their national brand, so they are before you to ask for a waiver for that. Here is the proposed elevations where you can see the proposed colors and the current elevation. We'll show more of that later on. And here's another view of what they're doing in the building. They have done internal renovations, and this is some of the external changes that they are proposing. Here's what the current front looks like. And we're just going around the building so you can see what it looks like. Adjacent buildings in Airway Shopping Center and along Airway Road. Now we're going back to the building so you can see again what the current front of the building looks like. What the north side of the property looks like, and another view once you turn it a little bit more because it's at an angle on that property. Here is the east view of the subject site. And this is the south over that little creek where Firestone is. So staff does recommend approval of this waiver. It does meet all the standards of approval and is adequately justified. It is consistent with the recommendations in our comprehensive land use plan, and the applicant is requesting the minimum necessary to afford relief of the standards. The color palette they are requesting is consistent with nearby development. There's not going to be any outlandish colors. They're only asking for two, that blue and white, and it'll be consistent with their national branding. These are your required actions, either to approve as requested, approve with some conditions, deny the request, or if you need more time to consider, you can postpone this case to a date certain. What's bolded is what staff recommends. Do you have any questions?
Questions for staff?
All right.
Okay, the applicant is here. Is there anything you'd like to address the planning commission about?
Hi, my name is Jeff, I'm construction manager with Air Wellness. Naya pretty much said it, we're just trying to get our,
Yeah, you have to swear in.
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
All testimony before the commission, this one, I, Josh Seaver, affirm that the testimony I'm about to give before the planning commission is correct to the best of my knowledge.
Thank you.
So yeah, Naya kind of already said that this is our national brand. We're in 7 states now, so we're really just trying to be consistent, throughout our states so people recognize our brand. And, they have those cool architectural features on the building, so we thought it'd be perfect to, use our blue. So the building really popped and, so our customers can see, hey, there's Air Wellness and come purchase the product.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay,
We're like the city of Riverside.
yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. I was.
Yeah, we even matched the Airway Center sign. It's
Yeah.
the same blue.
So it's a pretty blue. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, there does not appear to be any citizen comment. So I will, if there's no comments for our applicant or staff, I'll close the public hearing and we'll go on to discuss as commissioners. Okay, we're closing the public hearing then at 6:39. And what say you, commissioners? Any comments or?
Don't we have any comments? I'll move to approve PC case number 23-0018, 4918 Airway Road, based on the staff report and the evidence and testimony heard today.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve PC case number 23-0018. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mrs. Denning?
Yes. Motion carries. Just follow up with Ms. Holt, sir, on next steps. Okay. He's anxious to get started. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Stoner,
Stoner.
zoning administrator discussion topics.
Yes. So earlier this year, we had set a schedule for our work session, and things got put on hold because of a busy summer schedule. So I didn't know if you wanted to pick that up. I know we're getting into the holiday schedule. One thing I did want to put on your radar, which is sort of related to the work schedule, is the annual planning and zoning workshop at Sinclair that happens. It's December 1st, which sort of ties in. I know we talked about adding that to the work session schedule, because that is training. It also allows us to get together and kind of talk about some of the things we learned there and putting it on, next year's schedule if we wanted to make any code changes based on some of the things we learned. So that is just something to think about if we wanted to continue having some discussions. I'm not sure, since we are 2 members short.
It's hard to.
Yeah, to have that
Set
discussion, we want to start that. I will have either probably November, October meeting as scheduled for 2023. So we can pick that up and talk about if we want to at least the first half of the year have a work session after those meetings,
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there
or 2024.
anything like real pressing for October, November, December as far as like work session per se, unless we get something that we want to do. So if we just kind of leave it as if we get a couple of the big things that we are trying to get accomplished, then maybe we'll have a work session.
Mhm.
Otherwise, maybe just because January tends to slow down a little bit, start in January at the beginning of the year. And that way we can have a couple months before everything starts getting crazy again. Does that make sense?
That works. So that gives us time to, because I know we've had a little start stop.
Yeah,
We've had our team kind of looking into the residential chicken code and urban ag, and also looking at some other communities and what they're doing with signs. So we can probably have a better comprehensive, packet for you guys in January. And we have a new intern who should be starting soon that's going to pick up that work.
well, let's just kind of plan that unless something would come up, because our agendas haven't been extremely big. I don't see, you don't really have a whole lot of things that you know of coming. So even if we needed to spend a little time during a meeting talking over something, because like I know I've got some ideas about signs,
Yes.
the temporary type signs. Just kind of maybe throwing some of those ideas out there. We could just do that during a regular meeting
Yeah.
under matters by commissioners or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
Because it wouldn't take very long just to kind of eyeball it.
And I know those two, especially since the chicken thing is something that council asked the planning commission to do. And then the signs is something that would really help our businesses, since that's something that comes up a lot when they're applying for permits.
And I think I found my white folder of all of the data about backyard chickens that we were presented.
Oh, good.
Oh,
I think I know. You can
Do
find
you?
it. You can
Yeah.
find it.
Well,
I mean, I
you
throw
look
away a
for-
whole bunch of stuff, so hopefully it can go. away.
no, I know I didn't. I think it's still, I still have another whole box of stuff to bring you of old maps and old
Mhm.
stuff because you said you wanted that. So I will see if I believe it was in that box.
Yeah.
Because I thought that might help, because a lot of that research was really already done.
Hmm.
And really it was a really good
Yeah.
program laid out there. I mean, the only thing that was nice that the former intern did was that the homeowners associations and
Hmm.
the deed restrictions, that was a piece I think last time we were probably missing, but otherwise I think we had it pretty well mapped out. Just we didn't know about that. It was never brought up to us
Yeah,
about
yeah.
those two things. And I think that would satisfy the community as well, because those were kind of some of the neighborhoods that were more kind of like against it versus the neighborhoods that were more for it, if that makes sense. So, okay,
So,
because
yeah,
I know
guess-
I'm getting a lot
Yeah.
of messages on that about.
Yeah, we're
chickens
still getting
lately.
calls and about that, and I know we're still looking into it, so we haven't stopped. It's just, staffing changes.
Do you want a dozen fresh eggs?
I guess I kind of put those two updates together with how we're moving forward with the UDO research, and then talking about the work session and the workshop that's coming up on December 1st.
Yeah.
So,
I want to go to that. And as of right now, it's all clear on my calendar and I just
Okay.
put it on my
Yeah, I'd
calendar.
like to go.
all right, that's what I
Yeah,
need
I'll
to know.
let you know, because I'm supposed to be, well, if I don't have to go out of town for work, then I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, last year I was out of town. I couldn't go.
I had to, yeah. It's not a town meeting. I'm just
And I don't
out
have
of
to
it.
worry about going out of town. I'm officially retired now.
Really?
All right, that's all I have.
All right. So moving on to matters by commissioners. Mr. Rogers.
Could you remind us what the training requirement is and how many hours per what period of time?
Yeah, it's only 8 hours every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah. There is a log, and I can send that back out if you would like. where you
I
can
was
log your
adding
hours.
stuff like last year and the year before, and then I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, so for most of you, since that requirement start, it's reset. And I think because many of you went to that training, you know, already met that. And then we also had the training where you train with counsel,
Right.
if you remember that.
The legal ones.
Yep,
Can you check, does mine start back over next year or the following year?
yep, I can check that.
If we could just know what period we're in and how many hours we have.
Yeah,
in
because
that.
I know I think I was over hours. Because remember, I asked, will it be like the state and will the hours roll over
Mhm.
if you're over? I mean, if the insurance board allows you to do it, surely Riverside should allow you to do.
The hour counts.
Right, I've made a note to do that.
Okay,
And who wants to go to the training?
okay. All righty, David normally goes too, so, because that's normally a slow time of year, I think, for him. All right, Mr. Vasquez.
So I'm planning on attending the December workshop. I'm not gonna be here for October's meeting. I'll be out of
Okay.
town. Let's see, and I have one item for commission consideration. Our church is hosting a Life to Lead training. It's a John Maxwell training. So our church is gonna be one of the places where they simulcast. It'll be October the 6th, that's a Friday, it'll be all day, I believe. I can send you the information because I don't have it with me.
He's one of my favorites.
So, yeah, I believe it's like $50 for the whole day training, so. I'll send you the info with all the details and link to register and so forth.
Would that be a leadership training that counts?
If he sends me the information, I'll see if it's those box.
Oh,
I'll be
John,
out of
next
the
one.
country.
That's when you'll be out, that's right.
Well, please send me the
Yes, I will.
deviation because
They're at the
I,
16th meeting.
God willing, I'm coming home Saturday from Morocco, the Saturday before. So
so October is.
my
gonna
plan
be-
is to be back at work that Monday and to be here.
Okay,
I would recommend then that we try not to have cases on for October.
okay. That may,
And well, I mean, I'll be here, but if
Mhm.
Harold's gonna be out, we don't know about the two commissioners that aren't here.
mhm.
And we don't know if Tony's gonna
And
be.
Tony may
coherent.
or may not, if he
I
misses
do
the
have a
flight,
direct flight to New York from,
I know
Okay.
there's one case that is trying to get everything in for that date.
well, I'm just saying, we need to know from commissioners early enough.
Yeah,
I mean, I really have to be back here for work too.
Mhm.
So, I mean, unless it's something extreme, I have a day cushion, day and a half cushion.
But
yeah.
that's what I would be, I
Yeah.
I don't want an applicant show up and us not have a quorum. Cause that's really bad business. I mean, you know. But anyways, see what you can do. Well, you know, at least we know that there's a
Mhm.
possibility we
Yeah.
may not have a quorum.
Yeah.
We just maybe talk to those two.
Yeah.
See what
We
their
just,
plans are.
we have to have concrete
Mm-hmm.
from them.
I'm driving once to get to New York, so back home, so I'll have a car.
Yeah.
So I should be, the only thing coming back will be the flight back here.
All right. If you have little kids, don't forget October 21st is the Lights on Matinee for little ones at the Haunted House from noon to 4. So should be good. And other than that, if there's nothing else, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.